Here's a question a woman might ask you this week. So what do you do with your time these days? It sounds like small talk. It sounds like nothing at all. Really the kind of question you answer on autopilot and move right past. But it's quietly a test, and most men your age fail it without ever realizing a test was even happening. Stick with me for the next few minutes, and I'll hand you something almost nobody explains to men over 55, what she's actually asking underneath those words, and why the honest, straightforward answer most men give is exactly the wrong one. Here's the quiet tragedy that plays out constantly in kitchens and coffee shops and family gatherings everywhere. A woman likes an older man. She's curious about him, warm around him, genuinely interested in who he is. But she's not going to walk up and announce it, because that's never been how this works. So she does what women have always done. She starts asking questions. Small, safe ones. Each one a little door cracked open while she waits to see if he'll notice. And he doesn't notice. He answers like he's filling out a form. She drifts away and he tells himself it was about his age, when really it was simply that he couldn't read the room. You're about to be able to read it. Let's take this question apart properly because it fools nearly everyone. What do you do with your time? You, being a decent, straightforward man, answer it straight. The garden, the grandkids, a bit of golf on Thursdays. You think she wants your schedule when she couldn't care less about your schedule. What she's actually doing is leaning over the edge and peering into your life to see whether it's a life she'd want to climb into. She's listening for exactly one thing, which is whether this man is still alive in there, still engaged with the world, or just quietly running out the clock. When a woman asks how you spend your days, what she's really reaching for is whether those days are worth sharing with someone. So the answer that actually works was never the list of activities. It's the heat underneath the list. Compare these two responses and notice how differently they land, even though the underlying facts might be nearly identical. The first response, I've been restoring this old wreck of a boat. Honestly, it's driving me up the wall, but I love it. The second response, retired now, mostly around the house, some golf, a bit of gardening, same general shape of a life, and yet one sounds like a man who still wants things, who's still chasing something, still curious, still alive to the world around him. The other sounds like a man reading his symptoms out to a doctor, listing facts with no pulse underneath them. Same facts entirely, and yet a completely different signal lands in her chest. This matters more than it might seem to on the surface, because what she's really trying to determine underneath the polite curiosity is whether you're a man with forward motion left in him, or a man who's settled into a kind of quiet stillness that has nothing left to offer a new person. Neither answer is a moral failing. Plenty of men genuinely are winding down, genuinely are content with quiet routine, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're someone who does still have some fire left, some curiosity, some project or passion that lights you up even slightly, the mistake is answering in a way that hides it behind a flat, practical list instead of letting a little bit of that energy show through in how you talk about it. Now let's move to the second version of this question, and this is the one that makes good men flinch every time. How is a man like you still single? Most guys hear that as a poke, a little dig, an accusation hiding behind politeness. So they either get defensive, or worse, they crack open the entire archive of the divorce, what she did, how it all fell apart, and suddenly what was a light, curious moment has turned into a therapy session nobody asked for. That's the wrong read. And it's badly wrong at that because she isn't opening an investigation into your failures. Read the phrasing again, slowly. A man like you, she's already decided you're worth a closer look. The compliment is sitting right there in the sentence, and the question is just the wrapping paper around it. What she's actually doing is watching how you carry the weight of your past. There are two kinds of men who show up in this exact moment. One says, with a little shrug and half a smile, haven't met anyone worth rearranging my life for yet. The other spends 4 minutes relitigating a marriage that ended over a decade ago. And where the first man comes across as free, unburdened, still open to something new, the second comes across as a little haunted, still carrying weight he hasn't set down. She can hear which one she's dealing with in about a sentence and a half. And look, the fact that you're even sitting here thinking through this, trying to understand what actually reaches a woman instead of firing off whatever comes to mind first, already puts you ahead of most men your age. Most men will go their entire lives without ever once decoding a single one of these signals, filing every missed connection away under bad luck or bad timing, while you're doing the exact opposite right now. The third question is gentler, and it slides right past most men because it's dressed up as simple kindness. Doesn't it get lonely? Or do you ever wish you had someone to share this with? You hear a nice woman being thoughtful, checking in on your well-being. What's actually happening is she's holding a door open and watching your face to see if you even notice it's open. This one's tricky. because both of the easy, obvious answers blow it completely. Slam it shut with, nope, I'm perfectly fine on my own, and you've just told her there's no room for her anywhere in your life, full stop. But crack yourself wide open and pour out all the loneliness instead. And now she's staring at a hole she'd apparently be expected to fill, which is exhausting for her before anything's even begun between you. The man who gets it right lands somewhere in the middle of those two extremes, with something closer to, sometimes, yeah, the right person would be welcome, but I'm not about to settle just to fill a seat. There's room in an answer like that, and the room comes with a standard attached to it. Both of those things pull her closer at the exact same moment, because she now knows there's space for her, and that the space isn't just desperate emptiness waiting for anyone to fill it. Now the questions get sneakier because the next ones don't even look like they're about you at all. This next kind shows up as pure throwaway chatter. How do you take your coffee? What music do you actually listen to? Beach person or mountain person? It sounds like nothing, right? And that's exactly why it works, and exactly why men miss it every single time. A woman who's genuinely interested starts quietly gathering these tiny scraps of information, not because she lies awake wondering about your coffee order specifically, but because she's building something, a picture, a whole imagined life with you somewhere inside it. The ordinary mornings, the road trips, the lazy Sunday afternoons. She's furnishing that imagined life with your little answers, one small detail at a time. So the throwaway grunt of black 2 sugars before you turn straight back to your own drink is you declining an invitation you didn't even see arrive. The man who tosses back a bit of color instead, a small story, maybe a bit of humor, and then lobs the question right back to her, keeps the whole thread alive in her hands. And the funny part is, the actual content of your answer barely matters. What she's really tracking is whether you understood she was knitting something together and reached over to pick up a needle yourself. Here's the thread running through every single one of these questions, and once you see it, you genuinely cannot unsee it again. Every one of these is a woman quietly managing her own risk. She's interested, but she is not going to stand there fully exposed and declare it outright, not early on, and honestly, maybe not ever, so she tests in small increments instead. A question here, a small opening there, each one feeding her a little more information while still shielding her from a flat, humiliating no if she's misjudged the situation. Chasing her was never actually your job in any of this. Your job is simply to notice and to quietly walk through the doors she keeps leaving ajar for you. And here's why all of this genuinely tilts in your favor at your age, which is the part almost nobody ever tells men over 55. These moments need one thing above everything else to land well. And it happens to be the exact thing you've actually got now that you didn't have at 25, which is the calm not to pounce. A younger man feels the interest, lunges straight at it, and crushes the delicate thing in his fist before it's even had a chance to breathe. You can take the exact same question, hold her eye for a second, and answer like a man who's been here before and isn't the least bit shaken by it. And that unbothered steadiness is exactly what keeps the questions coming. A woman will keep testing the man who answers her with ease. She quietly gives up on the one who either misses every signal entirely or grabs at them far too hard the moment he catches one. So what do you actually do with all of this? Whatever you do, please don't turn into some kind of amateur detective dissecting every sentence she says for hidden code, because that just makes you tense and strange, and she'll feel that tension radiating off you from across the table. Just loosen one single assumption, the one where you've decided in advance that these questions mean nothing at all. When she asks about your life, your past, your loneliness, your coffee order, or floats something the two of you could do together, let yourself entertain the thought, just for a beat, that she might be reaching toward you. Then answer like a man with a full life and an open door, without a trace of desperation and without slamming anything shut either. Think back over the last year or two, and you can probably feel one already, can't you? A moment that slipped quietly by, something you'd read completely differently now. Don't beat yourself up over it, because nobody ever handed you the manual for any of this. What's behind you was never really the point anyway. The point is that you'll catch the next one, and there will be a next one. More of them than you'd ever believe. While most men your age keep mistaking every single one for nothing, right up to the very end. A woman rarely comes out and tells an older man she wants him. She asks him questions instead, leaves a door open, and waits to see whether he's still the kind of man who notices. If this gave you something to carry into your next conversation, stay close, because next time we're breaking down the compliment every woman remembers for years and why it has almost nothing to do with the words most men reach for first.